morning. This is Dr. David DeRusi, Superintendent, with his third community address. I'll be covering several topics today, and I'll do my best to provide simple and clear information. Because for those of you that are not only following this through school committee meetings and local news and events, this is a complicated situation, and every day there seems to be a different curveball thrown at us. 2 weeks ago, the state introduced all of us to a map providing information on COVID-19 status. Each city and town, covering the whole state, receives a color code ranging from white, which signifies very low COVID-19 activity, to red, which is very high COVID-19 activity. As many of you know, Saugus transitioned from yellow status to red and has stayed red for several weeks. Last night, the school committee voted to open our schools full remote to be revisited in October. In October, we'll begin, pending upon metrics and state levels of COVID-19, to begin the discussion of moving back to our hybrid model plan. As a district, we will continue to work towards our goal of in-person learning, and we will continue to explore ways to support our neediest population of students, even during this shift to full remote. Again, the goal is to increase the level of in-person learning in the safest way possible for our students and staff. I was planning on addressing remote and hybrid learning models today, but in light of recent decisions, I'll focus this address more on remote and talk about hybrid model next week. When we closed in March, many of us thought at that time we would be back 2 or 3 weeks after the closure. When we received notice that we would not be reopening, like many districts, we worked rapidly to build and implement a level of a remote learning platform. Our staff and administrators built this remote instructional plan and implemented it quickly and as efficiently as we could. And we jumped into this new remote teaching and learning world. Even at that time, we knew that at the beginning of this process, we would have to build a better product should the need for remote learning continue. So as we prepare for a new school year, it was mandated from the Department of Education, all districts would need 3 plans to start the year: total in-person plan, hybrid, and full remote. The Department of Ed provided clear expectations and guidelines for all the districts in what our remote learning instructional model should provide. To meet those expectations, this year we will have a remote learning model with the focus on increasing structured learning time. Daily attendance will be taken. Student class schedules will be developed for the school day, and increased regular two-way communication between students, educators, and families. This year, remote learning instruction will receive grades as we open remotely, and constant assessing of students' progress will be happening. Our remote learning plan, instructionally, will be based on our state learning standards, which are outlined in the Massachusetts curriculum frameworks. So in short, we're doing our best to not only use the current state standards and teach to them, but to create a level as close as possible to a regular school day for our students as we start remote. We're working in partnership with union officials to finish our remote learning schedules for each grade and teacher. These schedules will establish clear classroom-like routines for teachers and students to support this remote learning model. Again, The goal is to have the remote learning experience reflect a school day to the best extent possible. To further support remote learning, we will be providing Chromebooks to all students. We'll assist families who may not have the Wi-Fi capacity to support remote learning in their homes, and we will work with our support staff to engage and seek out students and families who are disengaged from the district. Our priority is still to create opportunities for in-person learning, and we will continue working toward in-person learning for our students with disabilities in our ELL population, even in this time of full remote. I will provide guidelines. They'll be on the webpage, document 5, that clearly outlines the department's expectations and regulations for remote learning, which we will do our best to implement and follow. There has been talk of state options with regards to remote learning. So if parents make the decision, they will not be sending students back to Saugus Public Schools anytime this year. They may choose to opt, or they may choose to opt out of our remote learning model. You have options to access one of the state's online schools. Right now, Greenfield Academy is a virtual school model being offered, and so is TECA. I'm familiar with both of these models, as at different points in my career as principal and superintendent, we've had parents in districts that I've worked in access these. As a parent, you can choose this option. Your child would remain a Saugus Public School student, but would attend an online school. We would assign a staff member to check in on your child's progress, but all work is conducted through the online school. Again, it's not homeschooling. It is an online school. There were other options that were offered from the state. Some of these would be online classes. Edgenuity and Florida Virtual School were the offers. We are currently using Edgenuity at the high school, and we will be expanding that model into our middle school this year. Both of these products are class course driven. So you would take, for example, Edgenuity 9th grade algebra. It would be totally online class. And again, we would supply a teacher to monitor it. We're working towards blending some of the Edgenuity online classes with our regular classes taught by teachers currently. We're hoping through grades 6 through 12 to support the remote learning model with this kind of blended learning, using the Edgenuity classes to both support in-person instruction, should we go to hybrid, as well as support online remote learning. Both models that we mention here are online classes, which would require a high level of student-parent engagement, as it is a standalone method of remote instruction. Classes can be taken, students work at their own pace, and they move through the coursework. Again, we would provide teacher support for students to monitor the engagement and assist with any questions. So one is a virtual school, and the other one would be online courses. For parents that are interested in these options, I would ask, if you need more information, just email me directly on the fall reopening email I've set up. And please just leave me a phone number. This is a lot to go over. It's a lot to digest, and it would be easier if we just had a discussion. I want to give everybody a special education update. We are working hard with union officials, school committee members, to explore a healthy and safe way to begin the process of in-person instruction for our neediest population of students. As educators, we all agree it would be beneficial to create opportunities for in-person learning for these students, even in a total remote learning plan. I'll continue to work with local health agencies, union officials, staff, my own team, and Ms. Trainer to put the pieces together with the hopes that we can begin to introduce, starting with our youngest students, a level of in-person instruction before the month of September ends. Some other updates: student IEP services and schedules, including those for pre-K IEP students, will be planned out as the school opening draws near. Communication between school and staff and families regarding the specifics for each IEP student will begin to take place as staff return from our summer break. Students who receive special ed transportation, as documented in their IEPs, will be receiving a letter from Ms. Trainer. Like everything else, student transportation will look very different this up and coming school year. The Department of Education has asked districts to collaborate with families to support transporting their own students to school. This is a major way the state feels we can mitigate the spread of a COVID virus. Should families choose to drive their child to and from school rather than place them on a van, they will be eligible for mileage reimbursement. Again, this is specific to students who have this service as documented through their IEP. More details are included in the letter you'll receive, and our PPS office will be making follow-up phone calls to discuss this option with families. The district will look to continue virtual IEP meetings this up and coming school year. Several meetings were held virtual in the past spring with fidelity and success, and we will continue to do this in order to do our part. Again, it's all about mitigating the spread of the virus right now. We'll continue to look at multiple methods to increase in-person services and instruction to our most vulnerable students, special ed and ELL. In closing, I will continue to do my best to keep parents and staff informed as we move forward. Our official start date for students will be Monday, September 16th. Again, we will be fully remote to start. I will continue to work with stakeholders to look for safe ways to bring our students and teachers back to an in-person learning environment. We have outside consultants working with us to ensure buildings will be ready. I will continue to work with our lead nurse and local department of health officials and review protocols on a regular basis. I believe as a district and a community, if we all do our part, we can make in-person learning happen this year. I want to thank you for your continued support. Again, I do my best to keep up with the questions that are coming in, but I use the fall reopening email address. That goes to a separate account and it doesn't get lost in my inbox. Thank you. Have a great day.